So welcome everybody. Good to see you all. We've got a lot of images tonight, so we're going to try and zap through them as quickly as possible. I just want to start off by saying, especially to our new members, welcome, and also to tell them and to say, I'm so happy that Henry and Jacques and Rona are on the way. They are recovering from this dreadful COVID. Wow, you guys gave us a fright. I know you're not better yet. I know it's a long road, but we are so happy. And for our new members, all three of those members are our cherished, loved stalwarts. This club cannot do without them. And we are so happy that they're much better. We wish you a speedy recovery. All three of you, get better soon.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Right, so I think what we can do is just start straight away. We'll just get straight into our photography, and then we'll start critting. The images have been prejudged because it just makes it so much fairer, because the Zoom doesn't always show the clarity and the quality of the image. And Henry judged, Narissa and I judged, and Narissa and I will be commenting. If anybody wants to ask any questions or anything, just flag and we will do our best to assist you. Okay, good luck everybody.
Hi, Kathy. Before we go in, could we perhaps just fulfill Henry's request of asking the new members to introduce themselves and switch on their videos, because I think we all would like to see them. We see your images. Okay. We'd like to see who you are as well.
We definitely will. And Akash will give the name and then we can do it. Well, you've all met me now, Kathy K. That's enough. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, Paul. Hey, the Suttons. I'm Malcolm. Hi, Malcolm.
Hi, Malcolm.
I also know that some people watch through their TV, and then as such they might not be able to have the video option. It's too far away.
Okay, well, would anybody like to introduce himself? How about... There, Joanne's here. Great.
Yeah, Jean and Charmaine here. I'll hand over to Jean in a moment. So, yeah, we're very excited to be part of the club and looking forward to what we're going to be bringing. So, yeah. Sorry, my name is Charmaine.
Charmaine, we are so excited to have you two as members. We welcome you with open arms, and we look forward to communicating further with you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Good evening.
I have a webcam.
It's Jean, yeah. Sorry that our internet connection is very, very bad on the moment, and it crashed early on when I put my video on. So unfortunately, it will just have to be voice at this stage, but soon we are on Friday, and then we can do the video thing as well.
Great. Welcome.
Welcome.
Anyone else?
It must be. Anybody else like to introduce themselves to our members? Sandy, there we go.
That's it. Let's, the sharp people will introduce themselves later.
Sandy, unmute yourself.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, me. Hello.
Introduce yourself to our members.
I'm Sandy. Hello, everybody. It's a really great club. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thanks, Sandy.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Akash, do you recognize any newbies here?
Hi, Jonathan is online from Australia.
Yeah, hi, I'm joining from
Come on, Jonathan.
Sydney. It's 3:30 in the morning here, so Oh,
Hello, everyone.
Miserable.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, Jonathan.
Oh, this is lovely.
So why are you up, Jonathan?
I set an alarm specially for today.
Oh my word! How dedicated!
Oh, that's wonderful. From Australia. Wow. How are you? Are you happy?
Yeah, it's nice here when the sun's up, but no, it's great to be here
Great.
and great to see everyone's faces again as well. Well, the webcam faces.
Oh, that's so lovely to. Oh, it's lovely. Thank you for joining us, Jonathan. This is super wonderful. I hope you'll continue to do so, even when we have our club meetings. We're planning to try and have a Zoom going for those who won't be able to join us, maybe for COVID reasons. Maybe they will be a little bit uneasy about coming. So we'll keep in touch and we'll keep the members informed.
I have to see how shifts go later today and how awake I am, so I can't
Okay.
promise.
All right.
okay. Shall we start with the images?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can start now.
Okay. First category is contemporary artistic. Marissa Enslin, 5-star. Life is like coffee. It's all how you make it. Gold award.
Shall I begin, Narissa?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Well, Marissa, lovely Marissa. We absolutely love it when our members think out the box, get creative, and start producing images like this, which are so different to our normal images. So Marissa, what I really liked about your image and why I awarded the gold is not just because you've really had fun here, but I loved the way you echoed the colors of the tangerine reddish flower and the green leaves. You've echoed them in the background, and that sort of like pulled the whole image together and gave it meaning. So well done, nice image.
Too Good, 5-star. Sun Worshippers, Gold award.
Oh, this is such a lovely image. I love the way the models are placed in this image and the framing with all of this kind of circular movement around. So it's fairly, while it's a peaceful image, it also has quite a bit of energy in it. And I also think it was a very nice creative way of using the sun in the background. The only thing that the small little something that you might want to go and have a look at it, on the very bottom of the image where the man's leg is in the sand. I think maybe you could just do some work there. While I can see that this was perhaps shot on the beach, it just, the moment you look at it, it just looks like something's being done there. And I think if you just worked a little bit on that, it would kind of maybe if it's not so definite, it might make the image look a lot, it would definitely add to it.
Elsabe Dutoy, 5-star. Belle of the Ball, Gold award.
I absolutely loved this image. Well done, Elsabe. What makes this image a standout for me is the fact that you've got your main subject nicely in focus, but you've got this beautiful, vibrant energy of the dancers in the background, showing movement, showing life, and that's really lovely. And of course, I absolutely love your contrasting colors. The blue, which is offset by the red, that is the standout feature for me. Well done.
Master Bronze, The White House, Silver.
So firstly, I have to say this is a stunning sky, a beautiful image. It's so beautifully composed. I just couldn't understand why the author had placed this in this particular category, because to me this is very much a very nice pictorial image, or perhaps even in one of the scapes. The white on the house is a little bit overexposed. Well, it appears very bright, and perhaps you could pull down a little bit on that. But other than that, I think it was a great image. I just think perhaps there's nothing contemporary or altered or abstract about it, and maybe that's what could have let it down.
4-star, reflections on a mirror, silver.
I haven't got the next image.
Oh.
Okay, reflections on a mirror, 7. Yes, this is really a nice idea, and I love these reflections, especially when a mirror is used, and then you've got this nice dark background. So you've got the detail, the patterns, the texture, and you've just got it almost a monotone, but you can see by the tones of green that it's not monotone. So well done. I think the only reason why this didn't do better is that it's just appearing to be floating. If you could somehow, I know it's contemporary, but the eye is wandering in this image. So if you could ground it somehow, or maybe just do something to fix the eye in a particular place, you would get a much higher score.
The next category is monochrome. 5-star, bleak winter, silver.
Winterscapes are always so nice in mono, so that was very well chosen to convert it into mono. I think what this image, the crop on the image is like really, really tight. So you've cropped out so many parts of this tree, and I think it's the one time where you could have perhaps stepped way back and been able to get more of the scenery in, and I think the image would have had more of an impact. It doesn't have any foreground because the trees are so tightly cropped. It tends to look a little bit awkward, but I think you've seen something great, and the next time you have the opportunity, maybe step back and try and get more of the scene in. Also, the background tends to look a little bit too bright. Maybe you could just pull down a little bit on those highlights. But as a mono image, I think you chose well. The conversion was well chosen.
1-star, Kenner Indian shot, silver.
I still can't, there we go. Yes, I think it was a good idea to convert this image to mono, because we've got a lot of texture there, and I love the background where you've got those lines and the repetition of the lines. When you do mono, one thing you really have to look at is you try and look for contrast, where you've got the separation of the lights and the dark. And this image appears a little flat. So, and I think that's the only reason why it was marked down. So you need to try and create a bit more impact, and perhaps fiddle a bit, play around with this image. You could maybe have angled your camera at a slight angle, and it might just have compositionally have improved your image.
Master bronze, big bird, silver.
It's always wonderful when you get to see these birds so close up and at this kind of almost eye level to whatever they're doing. This image, for me, I think is just on my screen appears very, very bright. and the whites seem to be quite blown out. And the background is really, really busy. So while it's got lots of texture and it has got the blacks and the whites, the background is so busy, the bird is pretty lost in it. And I think, yeah, it's just like there's too much going on in the image.
2-star, forgotten bench, silver.
I'm so sorry, I don't know why it's taking so long. Oh, there we go. Yes, I love the fact that the author has seen this bench and decided to photograph it, because you've got all that lovely mottled stuff all over the bench. You've got these beautiful lines, you've got angles, you've got rectangles, you've got squares, you've got detail. But unfortunately, I think what let us down is that you just chose the wrong time of day. So you've got this harsh light which is falling on your background and blowing out highlights on the bench itself, and that's totally it's distracting and it's drawing your attention away from the main subject. Same subject, different time of day with soft light, and then you put in your contrast and your detail and emphasize those beautiful lines and angles, and that will be, you could really end up with a really superb image.
2-star, bug on flower, silver.
This is a lovely macro image. I'm not really sure why the author chose to convert it to a mono. I think it does, however, lack a little bit of impact in this, placed in the center and having all the brightness in the background. I think if you had gotten in, and I'm hoping that you have images getting in a lot closer, and perhaps, I'm not so sure that it would do, while we do have the black and we do have the white and we do have the texture, I'm not so sure that this would be a high impact image in mono. So maybe if you have got the color image, maybe go and revisit that. And it's very small and centrally placed in this very bright, quite if I may say, a messy and busy background. So maybe a tighter crop, maybe not converting it to mono might actually do it justice. But yeah, nice one.
Henry Opel, Master Silver. What's in there? Gold award.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I think it was very clever to convert this to monochrome, because you could, by removing some of the stump, you would have to amputate the tail, which is the last thing you want to do. So by converting to mono, you haven't got distracting elements. That tail leads you straight in, and there you are, and you are with your beautiful little subject. The face and the eyes are absolutely pin sharp, and there's a nice little story with a hand out to take something or do something. So a nice mono shot. Well done, Henry. And I'm so glad to see you entered an image, Henry. Well done.
Master Bronze, Stormy Seas, silver.
Kathy, can I ask you to comment on this, please?
Of course. Yes, I like this image. I love the simplicity of the image, and yet you've got the moody sky, and you've got the slow shutter speed and the focus. So all in all, good. But so why not a higher mark? Just one more mark would have earned it a gold. And I think it's because it basically lacks impact. So you've got all the components there. You've got an amazing sky. You've got this beautiful sea. You've got a rock with all the textures, but the impact is not there. And I think if you had placed yourself maybe differently, if you'd moved slightly to the right and place that more on the thirds, you can see the way the water is running, and that line that's going to the right, you would have created a very good lead into this rock. And then if you'd worked a bit more with your sky, in Lightroom, you can use your gradient filter and just get a little bit more texture in the sky to give you a bit more impact. I think this image has got so much potential.
5-star, bikes in mono, silver.
I actually like this image. I think the author chose this very cleverly. The black and the white and the contrast and all the juxtapositioning of the blacks and the whites and the 66 and the 99. I think it's really, really a stunning image, and I think it could have earned you a lot higher had your exposure just been correct on the image. It appears sharp on my screen. And like I say, I love the composition, and I love the thought that went behind it. I think it's just that the whites on this image are very blown out, and I think if you just went back and you toned down the whites a little bit and perhaps played a little bit with your levels, it just cut out a little bit of the brightness on it, you could probably have a really good image.
Can I also just quickly add, the author has over-sharpened this image. And you've got a white rim light all around, and the tar, you've got these like diamonds that have come out that are quite distracting. I think if you unsharpen it a bit as well, as Narissa has suggested, and do what she suggested, you could very well enter it in a salon. But it's been sharpened far too much, it's over-sharpened.
Next category is nature. Jane LaRue, 1-star, Dragonfly, Gold Award.
Oh, nice, Jane. In the 1-stars, we look for exposure, we look for focus, we look for any distracting elements, etc. And you know what? Your exposure, considering it was a difficult image to take, there was lots of background going on. There was the dragonfly on this flower, and yet your exposure is very good. Well done. And then, of course, your focus, your dragonfly is pin sharp. Well done. As you progress up the ladder, I would recommend that you maybe try a different crop. A landscape crop, you can cut out all those distracting elements at the bottom, add a little bit in the front, take out some of the top. You can tilt your image slightly so that you get in more of the dragonfly and the flower and less of those other lines and things. But a nice image, well done.
This category is nature, wildlife. Master bronze, old woman, silver.
Well, this is a lovely image, the bird in its environment. I like the composition, the almost C shape of the bird. I think for me, this image would have scored a lot higher. It has an appearance, and I could be very wrong, but it seemed like the image was very dark, and the author either pulled out like the shadows too much or got rid of some of the darkness in this image, and as a result it's left it very, very grainy. So I'm not really sure what process was used and what you did, but it just left the image very grainy, and as a result it's lost its impact, it's lost a lot of color, it's lost a great deal of sharpness. And I'm not sure how many more images you've taken, or if this image could be processed differently. But yeah, it's lovely. Even though it's a busy environment as well, it's a lovely image, but it's just the processing of this image that let it down.
Try levels or curves and give it more impact.
Brian Regan, 2-star, bird on a string, Gold Award.
Well, I love this image, Brian. I think it's absolutely superb. Well done. In fact, I gave it a 5 because it ticks all the boxes for me. I absolutely love this background. I love the simplicity of the image. I love this lead-in. the eye is sharp, you've got detail, your exposure is very good. So well done, Brian. I hope you're going to continue to enter images because it's been a while and we've missed your photography. Well done.
A 5-star, keeping an eye out, silver.
A lovely sharp image. I think you got nice action with the bird looking up. The colors are great. I think the only letdown in the image is obviously the busyness around it, and even that may not be as bad. It's the very bright, blown out kind of look or bright look that takes your attention away from the bird on that little bamboo or that little stick there. That's like really, really bright. Perhaps if you would tone that down a bit, it could perhaps have improved the image. But as it is, that is very distracting because that's where your eye goes to all the time. But the exposure on the bird is excellent. It's pin sharp. It's really a great shot. It's always very difficult to get these things so sharp between the reeds and that, but you've done a great job.
Andries Borman, Master Bronze, Blue and Green, Gold Award.
Yes, it's always so lovely when we see these bee eaters with a catch. So this tells such a lovely story. It shows you exactly what their job is and what they're doing. The image is really, really nice and sharp. And although it's a back shot, because the subject has turned its head into profile, it's created a beautiful curve with the tail as the lead in and then that lovely curve going round. So it's soft on the eye and the eye then rests where it should on the head with the insect in its mouth.
Rona Selshop, Master Bronze, What Was That? Gold Award.
A lovely shot, Laura. What I like most about it is it has almost like a very muted kind of look. And then all of a sudden you see this eye and you want to know what is this cheetah actually looking at and what is its expression all about. So I think all things considered, you did a really good job with this, even though there were lots of elements in front of the cheetah, like little bits of grass and that, but you managed to keep what was important, in focus, nicely exposed and sharp. Well done.
Kathy K, Master Gold, Moving In for a Drink, Gold Award.
I don't think Kathy can comment on her own image, so I'll do it. Well done, Kat. A lovely, lovely image. My only, and I know it's not always possible, was to just have had a little bit more space in front of the leopard, and I think it would have been an amazing, amazing shot, but as is beautiful.
Master Bronze, Fish Eagle, Silver.
Yes, it's always wonderful to see these fish eagles in flight, and 10 out of 10 for capturing it, because it's so often you've actually got to take that heavy camera and lens and just without your tripod or your mono and just free for all. So yes, a lovely image and a nice capture. The head is sharp, the eyes are sharp, you have a catch light. I just feel it's a little bit tight at the bottom, and it just needs a little bit of space below that feather of the wing, and your darks are very dark underneath the wing. It almost appears as if it was like almost like midday. It was a quite harsh light. So when that happens at your level, you can soften those shadows a bit with a brush in Lightroom or whatever it is. Just soften it, lift those shadows a bit, and it'll give much more impact.
5-star, dove in flight, silver.
It's lovely that somebody does pay attention to doves, because very often you find that doves and pigeons are so overlooked. This was nicely captured. I like the blurring of the wings and the little droplets that are below it. So it was obviously drinking, bathing, doing something, and we know there was water around. However, I just feel that this image is way too bright. I'm not sure whether it's an exposure issue, and it just appears very, very flat. So it lacks all impact. It has very little contrast in it, and it just has an appearance of softness about it. So my suggestion would be that the author goes back and has a look at it in post-processing. It doesn't look like it lacks sharpness. I think it's just that it's very bright and it lacks contrast in it. So maybe if you go back and you rework this image, it could improve greatly.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star, the road ahead, gold award.
Oh, Michelle, I wonder if you took this in the Kalahari because this looks like poster. A beautiful female leopard. This is a beautiful photo. Very nice exposure. Your leopard is pin sharp. And I love the way, although she was walking away from you, she turned around and looked towards you, and you got the moment. And that's what photography is all about. That split second where you press that shutter and you get that shot. The foot up, she's intent and she's looking to the right. I'm quite sure a second later she turned around and you had a bum shot again. Well done.
5-star, dragonfly for lunch, silver.
It's always lovely to catch birds doing something. And this is even better because we've got it with a nice colorful dragonfly in it. I think, however, this image lacks, while it's sharp on the head, it lacks sharpness everywhere else. And the branch in itself that it's sitting on tends to be blurred out. And it just has an appearance also of it being very dark. So perhaps there are some exposure issues on it. I'm not sure if Kathy would perhaps have more input on it, but for me, I just think it's the exposure. The whites on the chest or under the beak tend to be very bright, and then the darks also tend to be a little bit too dark. But I think maybe just playing with it in post-processing could improve it.
I just think the bird's a little bit lost. The branch is so big and so thick, and because it's out of focus, it draws your eye, so it's competing. I would come in closer, I would give it more of a crop. I would take off quite a bit from the bottom and on the left-hand side, giving it room to look into and getting rid of a lot of those distracting elements, and I think this image would be vastly improved. Just try it and see.
3-star, red-billed oxpeckers, silver.
Yeah, I love these images that are taken at eye level. Very, very nice. Lucky to be able to do that, and the fact that you've got the oxpeckers drinking. So why not higher rating? I think maybe it's just the wrong pose. It's that wrong moment in time. The bird on the left, the oxpecker on the left, is sort of like lost. You've lost a lot of detail because it's looking up. You've got your line of the water slap bang in the middle, so it's cutting the image in half, and the reflection is not really strong enough to hold the attention to be able to have a mirror image. So perhaps cut out a little bit of that reflection. Keep some in, so you've got it on the thirds. I would brush the top of the image where it's so light there in the background. And you know, if they were there drinking, you might have quite a few more. So if your bird on the left is sort of like, if you can see more of the face, that might be your chosen image.
Jacques Saushop, Master Silver, Fastidious Preening, Gold Award.
A beautiful image.
Wow.
I love the composition and the angle at which the bird was taken. The background is beautifully muted, and even though the light was coming from the top, your exposure on the bird is great. Of concern to me is the very bright, I think, branch that it's sitting on. So obviously, because the light was coming from the top, it's very, very overexposed. I think perhaps you could pull down a little bit on the highlights there. And then I also think that you could have cropped a little bit more to the right, to have gotten maybe rid of some of that branch, or the fact that there's too much of it. But the bird itself, beautiful.
Ian Taylor, Master Bronze, Ready for My Lunch, Gold Award.
Wow, Ian, this is stunning. Wow, the exposure is very good. The sharpness of your subjects, because the bird and the fish is just really very, very well done. And the colors are super, with a super duper background. So well done. I would take a little bit off the bottom, because that branch there on the left and at the bottom is quite almost competing with the kingfisher. So just crop a bit off. Just take it off the bottom, and then you've got less of the branch and more of the kingfisher.
5-star, Yellow-billed Kite, Silver.
This is like Kathy says, when we manage to get birds in flight, it's always a bonus. I think with this image though, the fact that it was taken from almost directly under the bird leaves very little detail in the face and the eye. It also tends to look really, really small in the frame, and it's also really flat. So I think if the author could go back and have a look at the image, I'm not sure if you have more like this, maybe at different positions. Have a look at and see what you have. But this particular one shot from underneath, it lacks a lot of detail, and it just has this appearance of being very flat.
Malcolm Sutton, 5-star, Flying into Oblivion, Gold Award.
Oh, I think this is such an impactful image. What makes this image such a standout is that sharpness in the head and the eye, and although it's such a dark image, you've still got so much feather detail and everything else. I can only imagine, because it didn't get a much higher mark, is just because it is so dark, the background, and that is sometimes it's so alien in the nature wildlife. I know with your settings and your -2, etc., use definitely in the sun directly on, you can get it, but possibly lighten the background slightly, maybe just get a little bit of detail in, so that it's so that we can place the bird, so that it's not just a bird floating in the center of black void, but lighten it just slightly, and we can place the bird, and it'll be, I think, worth the merit.
Master Bronze, Fly Past, Silver.
Oh, a lovely capture. I think what it is with this image is the background is really bright, so that very bright sky almost competes with the bird. And of course the crop, it's extremely tight to a point where you've almost clipped off a part of the wing. And I think that's essentially what would have let the image down, the brightness and the crop.
Andres Borman, Master Bronze, Wind, Gold Award.
Oh, well done, Andres. This really is a lovely image. Your background is superb. What is so lovely about this image is that you've got the brightness of that yellow beak and the pitch black of the feathers of the head and the crop and all that, and yet you've got so much detail in those feathers. So your exposure is spot on. Well done. And then you've got the sharp eye. Possibly it didn't get a merit was because those branches come across as a little bit untidy, but that's nature, you can't help it. I think it's a lovely image. Well done.
Master Bronze, Training to Fly, Silver.
Wow, almost so fortunate to see this. The pose is beautiful. Being able to just see this bird is really, really a privilege. I would say that what would have let this image down would obviously have been the busyness. I know this is where it is. It's in its nest, high up in a tree, so with all of this as surroundings. I think it's lovely action, beautiful storytelling, but the brightness, the background, the very, very overblown out spot on the top of its head, those are possibly the things that would have let it down from a higher mark. But in terms of storytelling and of course the sheer privilege of being able to see this, it's an amazing shot.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star, Kite on Approach, Gold Award.
Wow, this is such a stunning image. Oh my goodness, to be able to have captured this and flown straight towards you, Michelle. I love the detail. The head is pin sharp. You've got a light in the eye. Love the blue of the background. And the softness in the feathers, to me, is wonderful because I like that because it shows energy, it shows movement. So well done, Michelle. A lovely image.
Ian Taylor, Master Bronze, Freshly Tenderized Fish, Gold Award.
I absolutely love this image. It's a stunning, stunning image. What I love most about this image is that you got the exposure so spot on. Everything about it's pin sharp. And the fact that I can see all the scales of this battered fish also just tells so much and adds so much to the story. And you can definitely see that it was freshly tenderized. I think, Ian, perhaps the one thing that could slightly improve this image was I think if you chopped out a little bit more on your left-hand side, it wouldn't damage the image too much. And I'm not really sure what's going on at the bottom because had you put a little border around it, we could have seen what's going on. But I still think there as well, as much as you do want to show the scales, you could have cropped a little bit more off the bottom and definitely some on your left-hand side. And this is an amazing image.
5-star, White-breasted Cormorant, Drying Wings, Silver.
Yes, so lovely to see something like this on the beach. Normally they're just flying or they're just like fishing, but to have it there spreading its wings and then it's giving you that wonderful pose with the head in profile. So fabulous. The only reason I would say why I didn't get a high mark is that there's a few exposure issues here where the darks are a little bit dark and you've got a lot of brightness just below, just above the crop on the head. But I think what really detracts from it is that the rocks on the top of the image, you really have enough room that you could have cropped that out. And the moment you crop that out, the focus will then be entirely on this cormorant, and I'm sure you would have earned yourself an easy gold.
Kathy Kay, Master Gold, Lena and his Catch, Gold Award.
Oh, wow, Kathy, what great action. I'm sure you'd been sitting there for a long time waiting for the shot, and you did a brilliant job with it. I love the energy of this shot as well, because you can see the movement in the wings, and you can also see the prey that was obviously fighting for its survival. An amazing shot, well done. Head-on shots are also very difficult, and I think you did a great job with this.
Malcolm Sutton, 5-star. And Aqua Sandgrouse, Merit Award.
Wow, this is an amazing capture. We all sit at the waterhole and we love to photograph the sandgrass because they are so cute and so amazing. But wow, Malcolm, you nailed this one. There is detail right through this image. The exposure is perfect. The focus is perfect. Your background is perfect. You really deserve this merit. Well done.
Tim Gould, Master Bronze, Strutting His Stuff, Gold Award.
Lovely image, Tim. Nice and sharp, nice details in the wings. I think for me, this image is just a little bit too bright. I think the background is so bright that you actually lose the bird itself. So I think if you would look at just toning down your background a little bit and creating a little bit more contrast, I think you would even be able to bring out a lot more detail that exists in the feathers.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star, Nesting Material en Route, Gold Award.
Wow, Michelle, this is such a lovely image. The exposure on this bird is really, really well done. It is really beautifully sharp. Not only have you got it flying, but you've got it on its way nesting, and that little thorn stick draws so much attention towards that red eye. It actually really, really makes this image. I love the composition. I love the angle of the bird. There's nothing not to like in this one. Well done.
Ian Taylor, Master Bronze, Frog Catching Step by Step, Gold Award.
Oh, well done, Ian. This is a beautiful capture as well. There's just so much of action in here. I love the fact that the bird has its foot up and is all excited. I think the one thing that you could do to improve this image is to remove all of this extra negative space that you have in the image. It doesn't really add anything to it. And I think if you just focus more on the bird, got closer into the bird, that might actually really, really improve the image. It also tends to have like a little bit of green in the background. I'm not sure what's going on there, but you might want to just look at that and have a look at noise removal or something, but a stunning capture.
Malcolm Sutton, 5-star, Catch of the Day, Gold Award.
Yes, the action of this image is just fantastic. I mean, he's got his catch. It's a huge catch. You can see that look in the eye of the subject. He's so happy. But what makes this image is the surprise on the fish's face. I can't really call it a face, but the wide open gaping mouth and that wide eye, that tells such an amazing story. And the eye of the fish is the same color as the eye of the bird and of the Goliath, and that it's just lovely. There's so much going in here, and very, very difficult conditions with all that reflections in the water, and I think you handled it tremendously well. Well done.
Next category is Pictorial. Marissa Enslin, 5-star, Reflection, Gold Award.
Well, this is a beautiful image. Everything about it is beautiful. The lovely contrasting colors, the details in the flower, And then of course that little metallic bug, which actually draws your attention and keeps your focus. It's a brilliant image. Well done. And you handle it really, really well.
4-star. Dancer at Lighthouse, silver.
Yes, I like this image. It's unusual. I like the fact that you've got the lovely blue sky in the background, and then you've got the contrast of the white and the black of the building in the foreground. So well done. This is really, really compositionally a fun image. What let this image down is that on the side of the building, on the top, sort of like just below the dome, the whites there are blown out. Very easy to tone that down. You can just brush it out, put your highlights down. And regrettably, the little dancer, the model, her face is in shadow. So it's better not to have her in or choose an image where her face is turned towards, so you've got light on her face, or you can use your radial filter on the face, light in the face, get rid of those shadows, whatever. But her face in the shadow, it's actually quite distracting because the rest of the image is so bright and so colorful. It's almost as if she was placed there, which of course she wasn't. You can see by the shadow and everything else. So this image, you can work on it very easily, and it'll be, you can really improve this image considerably.
1-star. Citrus, swallowtail, deceased, silver.
That's a nicely spotted image. And you can see that you've taken it in a very dark environment and have done quite a good job with it. I think the exposure on this image is just something that you could work on. Those little white spots on the butterfly are very bright and blown out. And maybe just a little border on the image because it is so dark, so that we can actually see where your image starts and where it ends. But I think it was really a good attempt at a close-up image.
2-star. Pretty butterfly, silver.
Yes, I love the fact that this butterfly is really nice and sharp, and the colors are so beautiful, and so really, really well done there. Because you've got a lot of space around the butterfly, you could actually play a little bit with this. So I would have tilted it to the right a little bit, put the butterfly at a bit of an angle. That way you can crop out those very distracting blown out areas at the bottom and on the bottom right hand side of the image. So tilt it a little bit and try and crop out as much of those distracting elements as possible, and you'll see a really, really nice result.
Charmaine Fenter, 5-star. Kalk Bay Sunrise, Gold Award.
Kathy, can you please comment?
Yes, with pleasure. Oh, what a beautiful sky. Just absolutely super, and what a beautiful time of day. What I like about this image is the composition, and I like the fact that you can see the author's thought about it. Traditionally, the harbour, those lines in the concrete, it would form a barrier and it would block the eye. But you've chosen to find a part where the eye can move through the image, and the light on the water is leading the eye straight through. You've got the two steeples or lights, whatever it is, on either side, and then you make your way to the beautiful sky. I like the fact that you've got the birds in silhouette, and the people, they're actually not distracting, they add value to the story. I would have loved you to, I hope you had a zoom lens, because if you could have zoomed in on that center part with those people in silhouette and the birds and the sky, there was another amazing photo. But how lucky you were to get this time of day and this beautiful sky. And your composition is excellent. Well done.
Jacques Shop, Master Silver. Golden Dawn on the Chobe, Gold Award.
Oh, lovely image, Jacques. We can see the jacana just taking off on a lily pad. This is a very common sight in jacana season on the Chobe. And the fact that you've got that golden light just adds to it. It's quite an unusual image, not something that we see very often. Well done.
Henry Oppo, Master Silver, Entertaining the Crowd, Gold Award.
Oh, this is really an interesting, a lovely image. It's amazing what lights and smoke and special effects can do when a band is playing, and Henry has captured that so nicely. I really, really love the colors, and what I really like is the people that are watching is the light that is reflected onto parts of their faces, so you're getting a little bit of an idea of the crowds as well. So a very, very nice PJ image as well. So well done, Henry.
4-star, The Magic Castle, Silver.
This is a lovely image, nice, quite tranquil and peaceful, and I can see that the author was looking at the reflection and looked to capture both of that. I think the image, however, is a little bit flat. The sky is like really, really bright. And of course, just the mountains in the background also appear very, very flat. My suggestion would be, because the reflection looks a lot, the exposure on it looks a lot better, I would kind of cut off a little bit more on the top of the mountain, well, the sky, maybe use a filter and take away some of the brightness, add a little bit of contrast in it, and you'd have quite a nice image. I like the grass at the bottom, because I think it kind of like grounds the image and makes it a bit more interesting, but to others it might appear distracting.
4-star, The Mossy Wall, Silver.
Wow, how lucky the author was to be there. If you look through this wall, if you look through the background and you see those amazing buildings on the outside, in the center of the image. So the author has decided to be creative here. You've seen the mossy wall and the moss all over it, and you've understood the advantage of texture and color, and you've tried to capture it. But regrettably, it has not really worked, because this tree slap bang in the middle is really quite distracting. It doesn't really act as a frame. It would do if it was more on the side. And then the trunk on the left-hand side is much lighter than the rest of the image on the right. So it's not overexposed, but it looks overexposed just out the corner of your eye until you examine it. So this is very easy to fix. You could use your gradient filter in Lightroom and just pull down on the top left-hand corner and darken that left-hand section. But frankly, I hope that you had a telephoto lens and you zoomed in on that magnificent building that's there with the trees in the background, framing it beautifully. You've got the beautiful light green in the foreground. I so hope that you've taken that image, because there's a winner for you.
Tommy Inventor, 5-star, Summer Storm, Gold Award.
I put my flame on just one more. Thanks.
This is a lovely image. The bright, beautiful colors. You have a lot of interest in the sky. The birds add to it. The exposure is handled well. And of course, just the diagonal at which you placed everything into the image, and this very receding line that it has, is actually what makes the image. Well done.
4-star, The Black Sheep, Silver.
Oh, I'm sorry that this only got a silver. I like this image. I think the exposure is really good. I like the subject. I love the fact that the sheep are all looking towards the photographer. That's unusual. Normally they heads down and chewing or something, bum shot. So that's really quite nice to have captured that. And then you've got an interesting night sky in the background. So I'm really not sure how one could improve this image. Maybe just a slight more impact. Maybe you could play around with your levels or use your brush and brush on the clouds and those mountains in the background or hills. I don't think they're mountains. Maybe brush a bit there and bring out a little bit of detail, a little bit of color, just to add a bit of impact. That's possibly what, but to be honest, I like this image.
Next category is photojournalism. 5-star, it's my life, silver.
Nice storytelling here. It's actually quite sad that we see more and more of this happening around us, and we see the story, and it's not a pleasant story, but it's a real story. I think the reason that this didn't score higher was it has an appearance as if there has been a filter of sorts used in this image, or there was something done to this image in the processing. And when you enter something in photojournalism, it's supposed to be as real as possible. So I stand to be corrected, but I'm sure that's what I saw is what my fellow judges saw, but I'm not sure if there was anything else. But it's got great storytelling. It's definitely a PJ image. I just think it's the way it's processed or whatever's been done to it that has led to it not getting a better mark.
Next category is portrait. 4-star, leap, silver.
Yes, I love this idea of this lovely young girl leaping in midair with the lovely beach behind her. It's a great idea, and I like what the author has done, but regrettably, it's sort of like doesn't really ring true. First of all, let me just talk about that sun in the background. It's open, so you must get rid of those blown out whites of that sun, because that is taking your attention to the left, and instead of on your beautiful little subject. So you must get rid of those whites. And then you've got the sun behind in the picture, but if you look at the young girl, the sun is obviously coming from the right-hand side. Possibly lights or studio lights or something like that. But it's sort of like, it doesn't quite ring true. And what has happened, unfortunately, because of the angle of the photographer, the little subject's head has appeared to be huge, as opposed to her legs, which are smaller. So I think with an image like this, if you just get a little bit lower, then you will get more of a feeling of height and of length, and it will just add more value. But if you just work on that sun for starters, and maybe tone down that foot on the right, which is very blown out. I think just those two things, and put a border at the bottom around it so you see where the bottom is, this image will improve considerably.
Honor Cell Shop, Master Bronze, Family Bond, Gold Award.
Oh, that's a lovely image, Rona. It's always, when you see little ones, it's always like our moments. So I think you've done really well here. I love the way that the one is resting on the other, and you've got all these eyes that you have almost in line with each other. It's pin sharp. While the background seems to be a little bit distracting, it doesn't distract away from these lovely sharp eyes. So well done.
5-star, Busted, Silver Award.
Yeah, well, I think you've got a really, really nice background here, which is lovely. You want that sort of thing in a portrait. You've got the eye pin sharp, and so that also has worked. I think the only reason this didn't score a high mark is you've just got so much going on that doesn't really add value to the image itself. The bottom section, the bottom half of the image is not really adding value. I can see why the author has done it, because these kuribastas have got these beautiful long necks and they've often stick up their crop and they're really, really so interesting. But what it is that it's just, if you had done maybe a landscape format, cropped off some of that so that you've got in closer, you've got more detail, the eye will concentrate on the head and the beak and the eye. You've got space for your bird to move into, you'll have a totally different image. So basically, it's just a crop.
5-star. They actually do have eyes. Silver.
A very unusual subject. I always say that wildebeest is somehow or the other overlooked when it comes to photography, except if you're in Mara. So it was good that the author stopped and took the time to photograph this. I think this image, the background is just way too bright, and maybe if you had toned down on that, and once again just added some sort of contrast and punch to make this image pop. So the background and definitely creating some sort of pop and impact in it.
If category escapes. Brian Regan, 2-star. Good morning. Gold award.
Wow. Lucky you to have been there, Brian, and seen this absolutely beautiful sunrise. How absolutely stunning. I really, really like the fact that you have chosen a morning when there's beautiful sky, there's clouds, there's texture, there's detail. And then you've chosen the time of day when it's reflected in the foreground. I don't know if you use Lightroom or something, but the left-hand side of the image is a little bit dark compared to the right. And you are getting so good with your photography. Just pull a radial filter along the left-hand side, the first third, just to get a little bit of detail and color into the left-hand side. And this will be absolutely an amazing image.
Master bronze, pot of gold, silver award.
Kathy, can I ask you to comment, please?
Yes. What's an amazing moment to be there, to see the color. Obviously, the sun has just popped out after the rain or before the rain. You've got this beautiful color that's coming through onto the fields, and you've got that rainbow in the sky. I mean, what more could you ask for? So why not a high mark? Well, I think even though you have the rainbow and all that, you're lacking the composition and the impact. So what I would have done, and I'm not saying it's correct because I often bomb out when it comes to scapes, I would have cropped off some of the bottom and I would have concentrated on that central area where you've got the light yellow and the dark yellow and you've got the green tree, and I would have worked on that and brought out the vibrancy and the colors. I would have worked on the sky. I would have pulled down a gradient filter on the sky, brought out the color of the rainbow and texture in the sky, and all that I would have done. And I advise the author just to try it just for fun. I think there's a great image there.
Kathy K, Master Gold, Storm in the Distance, Gold award.
Oh wow, Kathy, a beautiful sky. What amazing colors. I think you did a great job with this capture. My only little crit would have been perhaps a little bit more in the foreground, a little bit of space in front of these trees. but as presented, it's an amazing image. The colors are stunning. You did a good job getting the textures out in the sky, and lucky you for having been there.
Lots of rain.
On Barons, Master Bronze, sunrise at the Whale Deck Beach, Gold Award.
I really like this image. I love the foreground. It looks like it's molten gold, these rocks and the sea. Fawn, you're getting really, really good with your images. I feel however you could have done more with the sky this time, Fawn. You can definitely work on the sky. You can bring in more detail and more color in that sky, make it pop a bit, and pull your filter down to past that white water in the sea in front so that you bring some of that color into the water as well. And it's just because your foreground is just a little bit too dark compared to the lighter sky. So I'm only doing this because I know that you are saying this because you got a gold, but I know you are entering salons, and this is really, really worth an acceptance farm if you just work a little bit on the sky. Be a lovely salon.
John Fenter, Master Bronze, Aniston, Gold Award.
Oh, beautiful image. I love the colors in this image. And I think most of all, just the energy in this image. Just having slowed down that shutter speed and blurred the motion just brings such a feel of movement. And it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful image. And of course, bonus, you had a beautiful sky on that day as well. Well done.
Super.
Foster, Shaded Brook, Silver.
Yes, this is a difficult one to photograph because you can see there's a lot of contrast in light in the background. You can see there on the field, you've got all that beautiful sunshine. And then you've got so much shade here on this brook. So, wow, what challenging conditions to try and take this image. So well done on trying, and I love the story. I love the rocks in the foreground, the water, the gate that's open. It's just inviting you to go and move in there. So my advice, and I hope you did it because if you're traveling, is just try and change your angle slightly. Maybe if you get down low, you will get more detail in the front. You can have your leading with that lighter water and lead the eye through to the open gate and that wall, that beautiful stone wall behind there. There's, oh my goodness me, I think we could all, as a camera club, spend a whole morning there photographing this area. It is magnificent. I don't know where it is, but it's beautiful.
Karine Behrens, 5-star, Early Morning, Gold Award.
Kathy, can I ask you to comment, please?
Yes, this is beautiful, Karine. Absolutely lovely. You've got your rocks on the other side that allows this tunnel of water to lead the eye in from the left. You've got beautiful, rich colors on your left-hand side. And then you've got the motion of the water where it takes you to the foreground and then to that lovely, lovely sky. What a superb image. As I said to the previous author, I would just work on the top part, top left-hand side of the image. You've got a little bit of blown out highlights there. So easy to correct because I know you photograph in RAW. Pull down those highlights, get rid of those distracting elements, and you got yourself a merit here.
Brian Regan, 2-star, Lone Fisherman, Gold Award.
Well done, Brian. I like the simplicity of this image, and of course, getting it at the time of day that you did just adds to the mood and the ambience. And I have to say, well done for leaving the sun out of this image. And it's definitely enhanced it and rescued it. Because had you left the sun in, it would have been very bright on that end, and it would have taken away attention from the little fisherman and all of this leading line and the little pier on the side. So well done.
Next category is sport. Johnson Lewis, 4-star, long jump, gold award.
Oh, fantastic. Love the action. Love the impact as the athlete hits the sand, and you can see the way the sand scatters. And that look on her face, you know she's done well. It's just such a sense of achievement. So fabulous. We don't get enough sports images in our club. So let's have more of these. Love them. Well done.
Paul Ellis, 1-star, Swarkops Raceway, gold award.
Well done, Paul. I think you captured this image really well. You got the movement in the bike. I love the panning. I think you did a really good job with it. Only advice that I would give is just it appears a little bit bright. Maybe just pull down on the brightness. Otherwise, it's sharp. It tells a beautiful story, and you left sufficient space for the rider to move into. Well done.
Master Silver, Swish, silver award.
What grabs my attention here is that beautiful, beautiful lime green board. Oh, how photographers love it when these surfers come out with either a beautiful bright wetsuit or a beautiful bright board. Lovely. Love the action. I love the lead in from the left-hand side, the curve of the wave, and I really enjoy the fact that he has got light on his face so you can identify the surfer. Important in sports photography, if you can possibly identify the sportsman, that is very welcome. I'm not sure. I think possibly this did not earn a gold because maybe the judges felt there wasn't quite enough action. Maybe just a split second later, as it turned around, you would see more of its face, less of his back, and better angle of the surfboard. I'm not sure, but exposure is excellent. It's sharp, focus, nice story. Well done.
Henry Opper, Master Silver, Catch Me If You Can, gold award.
Well done, Henry. I think you tick all the boxes of a great sport photo. We got the action, we've got the ball, we've got lovely expressions on the players' faces, and you've got I think the background, even though it's a busy background, it's worked for you. You've been able to keep the subjects really, really well isolated. Well done.
Karine Behrens, 5-star, Catch, gold award.
Yes, same thing, a totally different polocross image, but nevertheless an excellent sport image. You've got, as you say, as Narissa said, you've got the ball, but you've got the intention, you've got the energy, the tension, the horse you can see knows he's got to work now. You've got the dust from the hooves, and you've got the rider behind. You can see the defeat in the body because he or she has lost the ball, and that tells a magnificent story. Well done.
Next category is a set subject, which was eyes. Sandy Reinders, 1-star, Gentle Giant, gold award.
Sandy, this is an absolutely lovely image. It's always very difficult to photograph an Ellie's eye, and especially with that beautiful light in it. You've done this so well. You kept everything around sharp, and we've all got all of these creases and the texture on his skin, and then it takes you straight to that eye. You've done an excellent job. Well done.
I agree.
Tim Gould, Master Bronze, All Seeing Eyes, Gold Award.
Yes, Tim, I love this. I love the fact that you thought out of the box. You decided not to just give the normal just eyes, but you thought about it and you've played with it, and you've ended up with a very interesting image. Well done. I was impressed.
5-star, Would They Blink in the Eye, Bronze.
I think this is a good attempt at a macro shot. Sadly, though, the author ended up blurring this so much, whether it was camera shake, whether it was that your shutter speed was not high enough, and we have somebody's, it's really difficult to photograph somebody's eye because they're moving, they're blinking. But I think it's a good attempt, and I would suggest that the author keeps trying, because macro shots or close-up shots of eyes are really not easy.
Jonathan Lewis, 4-star, Eyes, Gold Award.
Yes, this is such an interesting image because you've usually when you've got shade below the eyes and above the eyes, the subject has a scarf or something hiding it. But this is, leaves the viewer wondering, not sure if she's peeping through blind or a window, whatever it is. But it's interesting. And I think it's through a window because if you look at the reflection of the inner eye, it looks almost like a window. So nice one, Jonathan. You made us think. I would put a frame around the image if I were you. I think it'll just show us where it ends and where it begins, and it'll probably round it off better.
Sue Gould, 5-star, Puzzled Eyes, Gold Award.
Tim, once again, thinking out of the box and doing something different. I really like what you've done here. The one thing that I would say though is I would not have left the rest of the model in. I'd probably have just cropped and focused a lot more on the face of the eye area, but you've achieved the whatever you wanted to in terms of eyes. Well done.
Paul Ellis, 1-star, Luna Eyes, Gold Award.
Lovely, Paul. What is so lovely about this image is the impact, and that's what we look for, and emotion. And you've got the yellow green of the eyes of this cat against the dark fur, but it's a pitch black cat, and yet somehow you've got texture and detail and all that. So you've handled this very well, Paul. Well done. Next time, put a tiny, very thin, dark grey border around just to isolate your image, and it'll be much stronger.
Andries Borman, Master Bronze, Beautiful, Gold Award.
Nice one, Andries. Nice background. I love the complementary colors in this image. It's very soft and peaceful. And of course, you got the eye, the lovely yellow of the eye, bright, and it takes you right there. The only thing I would say is, and I'm not really sure what you could do, but maybe, or even if it was necessary, considering what the set subject is, you just pull down a little bit on your highlights, because the back of the bird tends to have, or the back of the head tends to have a little bit of blown out on it, or just appears really bright.
Master Bronze, Curiosity, Silver.
Oh, that's a pity, because I must say I really love the angle of this image, and I really like the fact that both eyes are sharp, and then you've got texture and detail in the image. I think the reason why this author got silver and not a gold is because you actually can't really see the eyes. because you've got the reflection of the game drive vehicles and whatever and everything else in the eye, so you've lost the colors, the shape, the impact, and everything else that goes with the eye. So I think maybe the author liked that, but it is distracting, and I think the judges wanted to actually see the eyes.
Master Gold, the eyes of a lion, silver.
This is a nice pin-sharp image. You can see a lot of details in the eye, I think especially the eye on the right-hand side. For me, I just think that the crop is a little bit uncomfortable, and perhaps a head-on with both the eyes looking straight at you might have enhanced the image. I'm not really sure what the author could have done, but definitely the crop leaves looks a little bit awkward in this image.
Master Bronze, eagle eye, silver.
Wow, it's tough at the top because this image is a good image. The exposure is great, the focus is great. So why not? I think when the judges judged, they had to think of the brief, and the brief was eyes. And because there's a shadow on the eye there, you've actually almost like lost the eye. And the attention goes more to the feathers, the texture, the beak and all that. And the eye is kind of like lost. So for a set subject where we're saying eyes, we want the eye, the viewer's eye, to go straight to the eye. And that was a little bit lost. And that's why I think this image did not get a gold.
Julie Eisenbeck, 2-star. Looking straight at you, gold award.
Lovely image, Julie. I love the fact that you got down at your cat's level. You can see that intense look in the eye. I think you exposed this really well. It's difficult when you have lights and darks, and I think you did a great job. I, however, would say that I would have liked you to get a lot closer into the cat so that we could see more detail in his eyes, but as presented, well done.
Candice van Vollenhoven, 2-star. Blank stare, gold award.
So Candice, compositionally, subject-wise, colors, everything else, 10 out of 10. And that's why I gave you a gold, because I was so impressed that you are taking photos like this at your level. So I just want to say well done and keep it up. I would just like to comment so that, because you are still learning, you used a ring, I think you used a ring flash, and that is reflected in the eyes of the model, and it is very distracting. Sometimes people use it, but this time it does not enhance. You can easily get that out. You can just clone it out. You can just go over it, over the dark lights, and just with the black, and get rid of it. And then when you work on the forehead, Candice, because I think I sent a mail to all our 1 to 3 stars. I want you to enter this up-and-coming salon. Now, if you do what I'm telling you to do here, you can enter this image in that salon. If you look at the forehead, you've worked on the forehead, but you have not been tidy, and it's very, very obvious that you've been working on the forehead, and you've got distortions going on over there. I'm not sure if you used your clone stamp tool. Maybe try the healing brush. It's kinder when you work on stuff like that. So clean the forehead up nicely, clean that rim light, and clean those eyebrows up. Get rid of some of those eyebrows, and enter this image in the salon. Sorry, I spoke so long, but you are our juniors and we want to nurture you. I want to see that image in the salon after you fixed it.
Michelle Pearson, 4-star. I still do not see it. Gold award.
Oh, this is definitely an all eyes image. Well done, Michelle. You can't miss
Just Michelle.
It's got such a clean background. It's pin sharp. It's got the soft, lovely look, and then of course these big, 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 wide eyes with lots of detail. Well done, Michelle. Because this is a set subject and you're allowed to manipulate, I would just take the bright. I'm not sure whether it would. The source would have been, I'm assuming, sunlight or whatever. I would take the one and just place it in the middle of the pupil like you have on your left-hand side.
5-star. Where is mommy? Bronze award.
Charmaine, I think you're not allowed to put your names in images. So unfortunately you were marked down because of that. Just remember that also when you enter salons or whatever you do, make sure that you don't have your name in it because it's not allowed. Having said that, sorry?
It was a mistake.
Yeah, I know. That's why I spoke about it first. It's a mistake we've all made. Having said that, let me crit your image as well, just for the benefit of the rest of the members. Such a stunning image, but when the set subject is eyes, I suggest if you're coming closer, done a better crop, maybe zoomed in with your camera or whatever it is, and just got the heads of these baby lions, you would have missed out on your beautiful signature on the bottom right-hand side, and the attention would have been drawn more to the eyes. So sorry about that, Charmaine. Remember next time.
5-star. Those eyes. Silver.
I think this is also a sharp image with lovely eyes. Once again, we can see the detail in the eyes. I would have to say, I think once again, it's the crop on this image for me that looks extremely awkward. And maybe I would have liked the author to have looked at this at a different angle when cropping, or either when at this angle, it leaves one eye very, very sharp and the other one slightly soft. So it tends to look a little bit distracting, but definitely an eye with sufficient detail in it.
Joan Darcy, 3-star. Cheetah eyes. Gold award.
Lovely image, Joan. Your exposure is spot on, and so is your focus. I love the fact that everything is pin sharp, and you've got such a nice background, nice, clean, lovely background, and the attention certainly does go to the eyes because the viewer can see that that cheetah is looking straight at you, and that is lovely. Well done.
Jacques Selshop, Master Silver. My New World Gold award.
Lovely image, Jacques. Definitely those beautiful eyes, pin sharp, nothing distracting from it. And it tells a lovely story at the same time. Well done.
Ian Taylor, Master Silver. Samango Monkey Portrait. Gold award.
I think what makes this image a standout image is the fact that these eyes are so bright. The color, the contrasting color between that and the grays of the monkey and the greens of the leaves really, really make it stand out. It's that intensity of the gaze, I think, that won the admiration of the judges. So well done.
Henry Opel, Master Silver, Sorry Mummy, Gold Award.
Oh, that's a lovely image, Henry. I think it's got such nice storytelling and expression on it. I think for me, because this image was so much about eyes, I would have just cropped in a lot closer on the girl's face. Those lovely sequins that are on her top tend to compete a little bit with going straight to her eyes. So I would have somehow cropped that out and perhaps just left it more in a portrait format. And I think that could have made a lot more impact. What I love about it is that the light is it highlights the color and of her eyes and makes this a lot more of an emotionally touching portrait. So for me, I would have definitely cropped a little bit more and left some of that distracting element on her blouse out. Or actually, because it was you could do manipulation in this image, you could have maybe just toned it down, taken it out, something, but definitely an amazing expression.
John Fenter, Master Bronze, She's a Beauty, Gold Award.
Oh, I absolutely love this image. It was my favorite of the eyes. Well done. It's close up. It's a low angle. The exposure is nice. The foot, I would just brush that on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side. I would just brush out some of those highlights on the foot there, because the eye does tend to wander to the right-hand corner, because this is the kind of image you definitely want to enter in the salon. But furthermore, fabulous image. Oh, lucky you to have seen this. Well done.
4-star, Petite Little Buck Portrait, Silver.
I love those eyelashes. I think
And the case.
yeah. Definitely, I can see what the author saw with these eyes. It's definitely that detail in the eyelashes and you know, the lovely look. I also think it's quite nice that you managed to get a little bit of light in the eye, even though this is an animal with eyes on its sides. What for me would, like Kathy had mentioned before, because this is so much about eyes, I think cropping in a lot closer and focusing more on the eyes and making the eyes the main focus of this image would have helped you. And of course, because the image, the background of the image is so bright, it does take away from the actual image itself. So yeah, maybe having gotten a lot closer in would have worked.
4-star, What Big Eyes You Have, Silver.
This was actually quite a difficult one to judge, because I absolutely love this image. It's a stunning image. I love the fact that the color of the eyes is echoed by the color on the left-hand side, which is obviously such a nice time of the day. So well done. I think it's really superb. What I would have done, however, is that you've got so many blown out whites running down the side of the nose and all that sort of thing, and it would be so easy to resolve. I would have pulled back on the highlights with this image, and it would have added more contrast, more impact, and there was your image. Just pull back on those whites, because the eye keeps on going to the whites instead of focusing on the eyes.
Elsa B. Dutoy, Cat Eyes, Gold Award.
Lovely.
This is lovely, Elsa B. Nice close-up, pin sharp, lots of details. And I love that you have your little flash or light source right in the center of the cat's eyes. Very well done.
5-star, Monkey Nightmare, Bronze Award.
such a super idea, where you've got all the different monkeys and you've got the different eyes, and I can see where the author was coming from. So it's the concentration of the eyes. Such a super idea, but I would like to recommend, however, that when you do this kind of work, you work with an image that is correctly exposed. The image in the first place, because it appears to be the same monkey, was not nicely exposed. The whites are completely blown out. It's not really particularly sharp. And you've got lots of sort of like breaking down of textures and things in the hair and all that. I'm not sure if the author has tried to brush, or there's definitely over processing issues here. So the idea is such a wonderful idea. Just work on an image that is correctly exposed and in focus, and try again.
1 star, intensity, silver.
This is a lovely pin sharp image. I must be honest, I like it. It has almost a monochrome feel to it, and you can see a lot of detail in the eye. I like the angle at which it was cropped as well. So I'm not sure what if anybody else has a comment, but I think you did really well, pin sharp. It could just be because of the fact that it might not look like a real true to life kind of image, but I like it and I think you did a good job.
Julie Eisenbeck, 2 star, rising sun in an impala eye, gold award.
Yes, Julie, I love the background. I like the fact that you have given the impala space to look into, and then you've got relative sharpness throughout. Your exposure is pretty good. Super, Julie, you're doing well. Well done.
2 star, burning gaze, silver.
This time around, a very close up of an eye, and the author got it really sharp, so much so that we can see the little veins in the eye. And what I like about it is that it's not so white that it left the eye without detail. I think what would have actually led to a higher mark with this is that if you left less of the surroundings, perhaps a landscape crop just on this eye, it would have definitely complemented the shape of the eye, and maybe even leaving the eyebrow in would have been great. And this is the one time where you have used a ring flash, and even though it's very bright, but the makeup, the artistic creation of this eye and the ring light for me worked. But I think it's the surrounding that actually let the image down.
Joan Darcy, 3 star, eyes, gold award.
This is a moody image, and it's lovely. I really liked it because there was no doubt that the viewer's eyes went straight to the eye. I think possibly because of that beautiful color of the eye. So well done, Joan. It's a really interesting image. I would tidy it up a bit if you want to enter it, if you want to go further with this image. I would brush on those blown out highlights there on the hair and on the skin, and I would just clone out that white hair on the top right hand corner, and maybe just crop out that little bit of moustache at the bottom. So tidy up this image, Joan, because you've really got something here. I was really impressed with this image.
Troy Skellen, 4 star, eagle owl stare, gold award.
Well done, Toy. Pin sharp, lovely color. I think you did a good job. For me personally, I would have just cropped in straight into the owl's face and perhaps left all of the distracting elements in this image out, but really well done.
Sandy Reinders, 1 star. Reflections, Gold Award.
Well done, Sandy. You've really got in close and in this beautiful ground hornbill, and you focused right on the eye. You get so many close-ups of these ground hornbills, and people miss the fact that if they don't focus on that eye, you're going to miss out on those beautiful little black eyelashes and the texture and the detail and the red around the eye. And you did that, and it's good and it's impressive. Well done.
2 star. If only you knew, Silver.
Well, I'm assuming same model and an image that Kathy had commented on previously. I like the composition of this image. However, I think the fingers that are included in the image don't add to it. And it's like I said previously, when you have images at this angle, it is very difficult to get both eyes sharp. And I think this is exactly what happened in this image. So you've done a great job by getting the eye on the right-hand side sharp, but the eye on the left-hand side isn't. And as a result, it becomes distracting and takes away from the image. So maybe if you just went and cropped around the one eye and did something creative or presented it creatively, it may have worked for you. But here, having that one slightly soft eye on the left just distracts and makes the image, loses the impact. The image loses its impact.
3 star. Owl Eye, Silver.
Yes, I like the fact that you've got this lovely muted background, and there's lots of detail in the owl, the feathers, all the different textures and colors. The only thing that let us down is the eye doesn't have enough impact. The eye is almost like secondary. You could possibly have gone in with the filter and worked on the eye, brightened it up, put in some more color, brightness. I'm not sure, but as it is, you can see the eye is in shadow. That eye and the part of the beak is in shadow, and the top of the head is in sun. So if you're going to use an image like this, you've got to tone down the top of the head, and you've got to lighten the area around the eye. Otherwise, you lose the impact.
Sandy Reinders, 1 star. Relationship of Trust, Gold Award.
Another stunning image, Sandy. I really like this. I love the detail that you got on the horse and the eye. This time, I think that the reflection adds to the story. My only little comment on improving this image is I would have tried to increase my depth of field and keep everything in this horse sharp. So all the way through, so that you didn't have the blurred out hair on the top, because that tends to be a bit distracting. Or I would have just cropped and because that was not really necessary. I like the profile that, that you show the actual profile, but I think if you had kept it all sharp, that would have really worked. But as it is presented, I would have just cropped that out. But an excellent image.
Okay, that's the last one.
Oh, well done, guys. Wonderful, wonderful images. Impressive. It was such a pleasure to judge your images. And well, let's just hope and pray that one day we're soon going to meet. We will keep you posted. We will let you know. The committee will decide on when we're going to meet again. We're just waiting to see what happens. Apparently there's another COVID surge coming, so we cannot make an informed decision just yet. But In the meantime, we'll try and keep you interested. Michelle has promised to do a Photoshop, a workshop, extracting the background and placing something in the background, like when we did the portraits. So I will be nagging Michelle. So this month, hopefully, we'll organize that. So that will be a fun thing to do. And then we will keep you posted about our next Zoom meeting and our next set subject. And in the meantime, keep safe, look after yourselves, and we miss you. We miss you all.
Thank you, Kathy. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
Bye.